Couples who have broken up because of a third person that did not involve cheating. What happened? This idiot life coach she's known since high school. I can't blame him for everything, but this fucking moron just coached to shreds my marriage of 23 years. I was in a long-distance relationship with the eldest son of a family from the south of Italy for 3 years. I am not Italian. Italians reading this already know where this is going. We met in Milan when I was there for work and he was visiting friends. We would try to meet once a month, in my country and different cities in Italy. After some time, he invited me to meet his family and we started to stay at his family's house. To say his mother wasn't a fan, is an understatement. Loved his dad though, great man. I didn't really speak Italian, I took lessons but their accent made it hard to follow. She would occasionally burst into our room, screaming her head off at me in Italian, me, deer in headlights, hide or take my stuff and make things difficult. Knowing that we would have to take her in later in life, him being the eldest son and traditions being what they are, made it easier for me when it ended. Her sister forced herself on me and said that I initiated. I was the first to push her off me, but no one believed me and I was outcast by her family. 3 months later my now ex-GF tells me how she caught her drunk sister spilling the beans about she made a whole facade to break us up. My own mother. She had surgery and did absolutely everything to break us apart as she needed help. It's been 4 months and I can't ever forgive my mother. No cheating, but it really seemed like she was in love with her best friend. She bent over backwards for this woman, constantly, and yet every time she'd talk about her to me it never seemed to be anything remotely positive. I never could understand why she was persisting with their friendship. Plus always bad-mouthing whoever her friend was dating. Some may have deserved it, but it started to feel like a pattern, like she was jealous. I never asked, or accused, any of this. But 6 months in, it should have been sooner, it was finally crystal clear to me I wasn't going to get anywhere near the level of effort I was giving, or even half of the output she was putting into this girl. Called it off, and really felt quite good to end it. Epilogue, about 4 or 5 months ago, 2 years after I ended things, and not a word to each other since, I walked into a banh mi shop to place an order. Went to wait outside since it was busy, glanced up and at a table outside, I noticed her friend. Then a familiar blonde ponytail with their back to me. Not at all interested in any interaction, even accidental, I went back into the shop. Picked up my sandwich, walked a different way out of the shop to avoid passing them. Later that night at the pub, I get a private phone call. Ignore. Call again a few minutes later. Ignore. Get a voicemail. It's the friend saying to leave the ex alone, or she'd have to go to the police. I was confused, but really couldn't do anything but laugh it off and move on with my day. Frankly, they deserve each other. His friend liked me. I had no interest in his friend and made this very clear. Not sure what the logic was. He kept accusing me of sleeping with this one particular guy friend. He's never seen the friend or met anyone that knew him. In fact, this guy friend lived on the other coast. Kept accusing me of riding all over that dick, which is super fucking gross honestly, because although that friend is conventionally attractive, we never saw each other like that. Ex's paranoia grew so much he was constantly stalking this guy friend and imagining crazy shit that he would accuse me of doing with him in bed. It felt like mental sexual assault because I never even considered kissing this person and vice versa. We are just college classmates. Eventually, he did not allow me to talk to anyone who ever knew this friend, which is everyone I went to college with. Escalated to him putting his hands on me because the more I denied it, the more of a liar he thought I was. My husband, I and his sister started living together during the lockdown. I started to realize things. How I did not have any friends anymore. I finally had a chance to compare how she interacted with me and how he did. I started to notice more emotional abuse. She and I started to hang out more and he became more and more distant. In the end, I divorced him. Do not talk to either of them. Even though I am thankful to her. Had a friend who did everything with me. She would constantly go through boyfriends left and right, but I never thought anything of it. It wasn't until I got in a relationship that I realized I was her third person that was ruining all her relationships. She wanted to be with me and kept dating these guys in an attempt to make me jealous. These guys worshipped her, and she just wanted me. I didn't have a clue until she started getting jealous of my GF and trying to break us up. I finally cut her off and she just blatantly accused me of raping her, despite the fact that I never had. It was her "if I can't have him, no one will" moment. It took years to recover what was left of my reputation after that. I hate that I was the reason all those other guys got their hearts broken though. He was still in love with his ex. I found out. He got scary mad as he left. There's a reason you never date a mama's boy. You will never, ever win in that scenario. Her roommate was jealous my GF was in a relationship and she wasn't. She undermined everything for months until they were away together for a couple days, and as soon as my GF was back in town she called me to end it. Everything she said in the breakup didn't make sense, but it was all from the perspective of the roommate. I was dating a divorced single mom. Her ex-husband was petty as all hell. Anytime we had something special planned, he would decide that was the perfect time to drum up drama, or discuss amending their co-parenting agreement, and so on. She was a good mom, but had no boundaries where her ex was concerned. After several months, I realized that our relationship was third in line behind her kids and her ex. Kids coming first is fine, but that wasn't for me, so I kindly broke it off. We never spoke again, so I do not know if she ever enacted reasonable boundaries, or if he is still sabotaging her still to this day. She had a psycho mother who would poke her head into every aspect of our relationship. At one point her mom was going to work and watching me on the security cameras from the time I woke up until I went to work or bed. I only found out later it was so when I left she would bring my girlfriend at the time's ex over to try and force me out of the situation. He was abusive, unkept, unemployed but easily controlled by her mom to do anything she wanted. He also was / is known for selling her nudes for cash. The tipping point was when her mom forcibly moved back into the house she was no longer paying for, then began stealing groceries, money, and medical cannabis to take to her other daughter, unemployed high school dropout with 3 kids. Called her mom out, she spit on my face and called me selfish. I haven't spoken to that ex since. And looking back I can't believe I even put myself through it. Her, and her family were equally insane. Also found out after everything ended that my ex and her ex, the guy who would sneak over, were responsible for the death of their 1-month child but never charged. The world's kind of fucked up sometimes. His mom was the third person. Need I say more? I know a few who divorced because of the in-laws. Sometimes a person's family is too crazy. My son-to-be ex-husband wouldn't stop accusing me of cheat on him with my best friend. We are both female and have never done anything to cause him to think that. He seems to think I'm divorcing him because he was right and I must have cheated. Absolutely delusional. His mother. She was so overbearing I felt like I was dating her too. He and I weren't together long. I saw where it was going and bailed early. Every guy she has ever dated had cheated on her, her grandfather cheated on her grandmother, and her father cheated on her mother, this one while we were together. As a result she was incredibly insecure and made me cut out all of my female friends. I started to feel like I was walking on eggshells around any women, including cashiers at the supermarket, even when I was alone. She got mad about one of my neighbors being friendly to me a couple of times, not like in a secret side conversation, I mean while my neighbors, a couple, and my ex and I were all in a group chat. Eventually I couldn't take it anymore, we had a fight about it, I took a week away, talked to friends, family, and my therapist and realized I had been developing secondary trauma from it all and ended it. I still loved her, but it was fucking me up. I found out through the grapevine that she was eventually diagnosed with PTSD, for all the cheating and a history of abuse too, is getting professional help, and she's with a new guy. Hopefully she's doing okay. 30-year-old partner of 8 years joined a band with some 20-year-olds. They convinced him that they will never get big if they have long-term partners holding them back. 20 years later, still not big. Never made it as a musician.